All right, we're back. Don't know if I told you, but I have gotten a little faster with the video work here. I early on discovered that YouTube only takes 15-minute chunks, which some students have told me they like because that's about as long as they can tolerate looking at me. I don't know why. I do a lot with the lighting, you know. It's nice. That's a good amount. So if I limit my segments to 15 minutes, I only have to trim the ends. I don't have to find places to cut them. You don't need to know that. So discussion board work. Excellent job, people. I don't even think you really need me anymore. It's kind of sad. You do such a nice job. But hey, remember, who made you so smart? Nicole Kernan, yes. Elisa Allen seems like she's very passionate about some things, especially her plants. Yes, it's in her. And her flowers. She also seems independent because she cares for things on the farm and her plants. Yes, she is independent. It seems like she may be unhappy with her marriage and might just want to be away from her husband. When the tinker came along, yeah, exactly. Both, and then you get into Mrs. Ames a little bit. We'll get around to her. Allie, good job. Both women in these stories are depicted to be strong, clever women who look for a sense of purpose in a time period when women weren't supposed to really have a purpose outside having children, maybe become a nurse or a teacher. Elisa makes sure her house is in order, gets her husband's things like clothes, draws a bath. Yep, good. Good, more stuff. Nicole Kernan, you really dialed it up on this one. Nice job. Rita and Emma checking in, very good. Emma, Elisa Allen seems to be more independent. She's able to do most of the fixing on her farm. Excellent. Rita, both women embrace their femininity differently. Excellent. The femininity is very important in this story. We're going to get into that right now. Thanks, Rita, for the segue. Figgy's still here. Last year, it grew 2 figs. I'm hoping for more this year. It's a young tree. It'll get 8 feet tall. And I saw with the fig, and I thought, oh yeah, tomorrow that fig's going to be ready. And I went out, and it was gone. So the local squirrel got it. And then the other fig I was going to pick early, and then the squirrel must have heard me and ate that fig too. But it's a pretty awesome little tree, and boy, it's just fun to have. Okay, good. So the tinker takes the chrysanthemum shoots in the new pot, and he got his work from her. And you know, in some ways, I would love it if you were here to disagree with me. In some ways, there's really no harm done. The Allens seem to have plenty of money. The tinker does work for her. He doesn't steal from her. He did it deceptively. It may not be ethical sales practices, but he does provide the services. And clearly they can afford to pay for it. And all would have been for the good, right? All would have been for the good if she hadn't seen well, we know what's coming. All right, so she's very much awakened. Someone has finally valued her chrysanthemums. And if these chrysanthemums symbolize her children, guess what? They're getting off the farm. She may not be able to go far off the farm, or at best she gets into town, but her chrysanthemums are going down the road and they're going to be able to grow somewhere else. So it's really a magical moment, and it has a tremendous effect on her. It's remarkable the effect it has on her. And these I've seen little moments like that have an effect on people when something that they do, something that they value tremendously, is even just shown a little value, even if it's phony, from someone else. So we see this in her interaction with her husband. But the bath scene is she's really bringing out her femininity, her fertility in a lot of ways. In the kitchen, she reached behind the stove and felt the water tank. It was full of hot water from the noonday cooking. In the bathroom, she tore off her soiled clothes, flung them into the corner, and then she scrubbed herself with a little block of pumice, legs and thighs, loins and chest and arms, until her skin was scratched and red. When she had dried herself, she stood in front of a mirror in her bedroom and looked at her body. She tightened her stomach and threw out her chest. She turned and looked over her shoulder at her back. She's admiring her cleansed, her fresh body. She's almost like Eve here. After a while, she began to dress slowly. She put on her newest underclothing and her nicest stockings, and the dress, which was the symbol of her prettiness. Now, I like Steinbeck a lot. He doesn't make you work too hard to figure out what we're supposed to be thinking, and that's okay. You know, not everybody needs to be Herman Melville. She worked carefully on her hair, penciled her eyebrows, and rouged her lips. Before she was finished, she heard a little thunder of hooves and the shouts of Henry and his helper as they drove the red steers into the corral. She heard the gate bang shut. His steps on the porch. He comes in. Eliza, where are you? In my dressing room. I'm not ready. There's hot water for your bath. Hurry up. It's getting late. When she heard him splashing in the tub, Eliza laid his dark suit on the bed, shirt, socks, being very, very considerate of her husband, serving him. Henry came banging out the door, shoving his tie inside his vest as he came. Eliza stiffened and her face grew tight. Henry stopped short and looked at her. Why? Why, Eliza? You look so nice. Nice? You think I look nice? What do you mean by nice? I don't know. I mean, you look different, strong and happy. Good comeback there. I am strong. Yes, strong. What do you mean strong? He looked bewildered. You're playing some kind of game, he said helplessly. It's a kind of play. You look strong enough to break a calf over your knee, happy enough to eat it like a watermelon. Oh, he's a real charmer. Not exactly, you know. You look strong enough to break a calf over... Come on, buddy. Henry, don't talk like that. You didn't know what you said. She grew complete again. I am strong, she boasted. I never knew before how strong. So, you know... Is he the most sensitive guy in tune with his wife here? No. Is he a bad guy? No. But he does see something different, and he's trying to be nice, at least. He's a man of his time. He's normal. Henry looked down toward the tractor shed. He's like, what the heck? Looked down at the tractor shed. And when he brought his eyes back to her, they were his own again. I'll get out the car. You can put on your coat while I'm starting. So he's heading out to get the car. Eliza went into the house. I love this part. She heard him drive to the gate and idle down his motor. And then she took a long time to put on her hat. She pulled it here and pressed it there. When Henry turned the motor off, she slipped into her coat and went out. She makes him wait. She's asserting a little power over him. And when he gives up, he turns the motor off to sit in silence. Then she heads out. Good for her. So, just a thought that popped into my head. You know, how would this story be different if it was written by a woman? I wonder. Steinbeck's a guy, obviously, and this is his portrayal of a woman rediscovering some femininity, being valued, coming to life, and I do think he does it well. But who knows? I'm not a woman, so what do I know, right? But I do wonder if there's something particularly male about the way Steinbeck is presenting her, if it's authentic enough. And I wish I was with you guys to talk about it, but I'll just have to leave you to think about it for a minute. Hit the pause button, think about it. All right, we're back. Good thoughts, people, good thoughts. Yeah, she goes out, she gets in the car, she's all energized, right? And he's like, they almost want it. She wants to go to they're going to go into town. She talks about, where is this? Going to the fights, right? With all these guys yelling, right? And she's going to be a woman, strong woman there. On the way to town, though, she sees the Tinker ahead. The Roadster bounce, the car's going along. And far ahead on the road, Eliza saw a dark speck. She knew. As many times as I read this story, it still makes me sad. She knew. She knows what, in an instant, she knows. She tried not to look. He had to keep the pot. That's why he couldn't get them off the road. So he just dumped them out and kept the pot to sell. In a moment, it was over. The thing was done. She did not look back. This story is not a happy ending. In a moment, the thing was over. Her awakening, because that's really what it is. She did not look back. And I think after this story is said and done, she's going to be more diminished, more trapped. Her spirit will be cracked a little bit more alone out on the farm. Even strangers who come to do business, she'll be more skeptical of. It's a heartbreaking end to the story. And Henry notices. He is in tune with her. "Now you're changed again," Henry complained. "I ought to take you to dinner oftener. It would be good for both of us. We get so heavy out on the ranch." Well, he does anyway. She's not allowed to get too heavy. "Henry," she asked, "could we have wine at dinner?" "Sure, we could. Say, that'll be fine." She was silent for a while, and she said, "Henry, at those prize fights, do the men hurt each other very much?" "Sometimes a little, not often. Why?" "Well, I've read how they break noses, blood runs out down their chests. I've read how fighting gloves get heavy and soggy with blood." "What's the matter, Eliza? I didn't know you read things like that." He brought the car to a stop. "Do women ever go to the fights?" "Oh, sure, some. What's the matter, Eliza? Do you want to go?" "I don't think you'd like it, but I'll take you if you really want to go." Now, if she hadn't seen the flowers on the side of the road, she'd be like, yeah, she'd be up for it, whatever, right? She wants the zest of life, even though I don't really like people pounding each other, but she relaxed limply in the seat. "Oh, no, I don't want to go. I'm sure I don't." Her face was turned away from him. "It will be enough if we can have wine. It'll be plenty." She turned up her collar so he could not see that she was crying weakly, like an old woman. It's a very, very sad ending. It's just a day in her life, but it's just one of those things that's kind of heartbreaking, and she's going to settle for a glass of wine. That's enough with dinner. And I think of that ending often. Sometimes when I want to do this and take a chance, dial it up a little, or just have a glass of wine with dinner. And sometimes I just have the glass of wine, but sometimes, no, I'm going to dial it up here, folks. I'm going to dial it up. So it's a sad story. Elisa's a very strong woman. She has a natural gift, but she's fenced in. She's inside the fence. The clouds over the valley have boxed her in. She's boxed in a man's world, a woman in a man's world without really much else to do other than grow very amazing flowers, which is a great thing to do, but she's capable of doing even more than that. So it's very sad, and we all suffer when women are not allowed to realize their full potential, but of course we live in a modern era. It's not perfect, but 63% of people in college are women, half the people in law school and medical school are women, and in many, many ways, women are nowadays able to realize their full self. And that's definitely a good thing. And we are all better off for it. And a glass of wine is still good with dinner, but hopefully women can get whatever they want and have every opportunity that every man does. So, good story, just a sweet story, and it really, definitely one that hits me in the heart more than the head. And I'm not always easy to hit in the heart. So that's it for Chrysanthemums. We'll loop back to it a little bit when we talk about Astronomer's Wife, but it's lunchtime, and I'll see you in a little bit.